Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As always, it's a pleasure to be back with you guys again. Today what I have for you is the English version of the previous video where I was explaining the difference between a spiritual cleansing and breaking the chains, which is a rompimiento. What is breaking the chains? A rompimiento. A rompimiento is meant for anyone that has a spiritual attachment, a lower level spirit, dark spirit, and it has been attached to them for long periods of time, creating chaos, creating anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and all kinds of problems in their life. This is done to remove these attachments, to break bindings, to remove witchcrafts. The way I perform a rompimiento is very different into what is done in Osha or in Palo. It is done in a certain way. I had one done many years ago. In Spiritismo, we also do it in a different way because we include our guides. Our guides come down and take part in that spiritual cleansing. I was taught by my guides, by the spirits of the 21 division, and also my spiritual guides to do it in different ways, to add more into it. When I do a rompimiento, it's two parts. I always say I know when I start, but I never know when I'm finished. Because one thing I've noticed in a rompimiento is that when you do a reading prior to the rompimiento, you can see if the person has an attachment, you can see if the person has witchcraft, you can see if the person has a dark spirit around them. But sometimes at the moment of removing these entities, there will be more than one, and then it will take longer. That is why these ceremonies tend to cost a lot of money, because we are running the risk of these attachments, of these dark spirits attaching themselves to us. Some of these spirits are just stuck here earthbound, and they just refuse to leave. We always guide them to the light, but the energy that has been around that person for such a long period of time stays behind, and you could feel that. So that is why we also are at risk, and that is why it's important for us to cleanse ourselves. A rompimiento has to be done in person. When I do a rompimiento, and I'm going to give you some information just so if ever you do need one, that you have an idea of what is involved, because a lot of things happen. I always advise that if you're a female and you need to have a rompimiento done, that you have it done with a female, with a woman, with a spiritista, that knows what they're doing, and that you will feel comfortable with. Because you will have to bathe, they will have to pour a bath over you. I always advise a person to bring their whites, which they will be leaving with, and a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, something that they have used before, that has been used. No one has to touch your body or your private parts for any spiritual cleansing. This is something you should be aware of. And if you're going to have a spiritual cleansing and you feel at any time uncomfortable with whoever is performing this cleansing, I advise that you just go. Don't have it done. If you're a female, have it done with a woman. If you're male, have it done with a man, or with someone that is very trustworthy, someone that you really, really trust. I have done cleansing on my godsons. I have done cleansing on many men, and always with a lot of respect, because you have to make sure the person is comfortable. You have to understand that the person has been through a lot, and this is something very intense. This cleansing is very intense, so you have to make sure that they're comfortable, that they trust you, and that they understand what is about to take place. So I always advise that you take caution with whoever you choose to perform your spiritual cleansing, your rompimiento. Okay, so now I'm going to explain what is a spiritual cleansing. A spiritual cleansing is done also when people have attachments, but not as strong attachments as required for rompimiento. Spiritual cleansing can be done long distance. I have done it with much success. I did it once to my father many years ago when he was alive, and it helped him a lot. And this can be done long distance. The rompimiento has to be in person, but the spiritual cleansing can be done there is no limit to where spirit can go. So a spirit can travel any distance and cleanse a person. And since every spiritual cleansing and every rompimiento, my spiritual guides are involved, they take part of it. So part I do and part is my spiritual guides. Because you need the spiritual guide in order, if there's any witchcraft that was buried, the spiritual guide needs to unbury this. If there is any work that was thrown in a cemetery or any other part of the country, then the spirit guide can go and remove this work that was done there. So it's two different things, but both are very strong. Both are very good. I recommend a spiritual cleansing for people at least once a year, especially at the end of the year, to remove any negativity that we have absorbed. Another thing that I wanted to cover that is very, very important, that after your spiritual cleansing, you maintain yourself. How do you maintain yourself? With spiritual baths. Most of the ones that I have recommended my previous videos, you can do those. You can use the herbs that I saw on my website. And also, you must remember that anytime you do a spiritual cleansing bath or any type of cleansing, that you also follow it with sweet baths. It is very important. Another thing that my spirits always advise on is, anytime you do a rompimiento, after this is done, it is done. You do not have to speak about it. You do not think about it. You do not start comparing, remembering, oh, when things were going bad. I have a lot of clients that tend to do this. They tend to say, oh, before I used to feel this way, but now I feel good. Forget about the past. The past is the past. I always say you cannot relive it, even if you tried. So it's just there in our mind. Let it go. Do not think about whatever entity was attached to you. The thing is that if you start thinking of this energy, of whatever lower level spirit was attached to you, you're going to bring that spirit back. And you're going to start feeling uncomfortable. In the spiritual world, they can feel the vibration of our voice. That's how they hear us. And you also have to remember, anytime you feel fear, you're feeding that spirit. So it's very important that after your cleansing, you totally let go of that. What are the benefits of a rompimiento and a spiritual cleansing? What can you get and what you cannot get out of it? Because sometimes people have very high expectations. A spiritual cleansing, it is what it is. A spiritual cleansing. A rompimiento is a rompimiento. These two cleansings are meant to remove negative energy, attachments, witchcraft, bindings, anything, any evil that was sent to you, the evil eye. It is meant to remove that. When you do a spiritual cleansing, if you were having problems finding a job because of the work that was done to you, then after the spiritual cleansing, your roads will open so you can find a job, partner, increase finances, all these things that were blocked by whatever energy was affecting you at the time. But these cleansings are not meant to bring you a partner automatically, to find you a job without you looking, shower you with money or give you the lottery. No. One thing I noticed that my cleansings provide is, and I've heard this from many clients, almost all of them, is that it awakens them spiritually. Their dreams are more clear. The connection with their spirit guides are a lot more clear. They are more sensitive to energy. They start developing their gifts, and then they started being more sensitive to the spiritual world, and they could even hear their guides. I always require a consultation, a spiritual consultation, prior to any spiritual cleansing. I like to know what I'm getting involved in. I like to know what kind of spirits are around that person. I learned throughout my years' experience that it's very important to find out first what are you dealing with. That way we are prepared. So basically, these are the things that you should know prior to having a spiritual cleansing done. A lot of people tend to neglect themselves and they just, oh, I want the cleansing, and they don't want to do anything else. You have to, like I say, put your 50-50. I can clean you, but you must maintain yourself. It's your job to maintain yourself spiritually clean. And we are energy. There is no one way of blocking energy. It's impossible to block energy. You could isolate yourself and you still will not block energy. Energy penetrates anything. So we can maintain ourselves with spiritual cleansing baths at all times. And let me tell you, when you maintain yourself spiritually clean, things go well. A lot of positive things start happening in your life. So I just wanted to provide you guys with this information so you can know the difference between a rompimiento and a spiritual cleansing. And like I said, I do it differently as is done in Osha or in Palo. I do it in a totally different way. And I provide a person with different ways of helping themselves and maintaining themselves after the cleansing. So if you guys have any more questions in regards to a rompimiento or spiritual cleansing, things I can only tell you because this is a secret ceremony and there's a lot of things I cannot go into details with you guys about. But if you have any questions or comments in regards to this, you can place your comments below. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you and love and light to you all.